Stop. If you are new to the series, you need to start at the beginning. This wisdom is for everyone. Pass on what you will learn. 4 people were banished to Elba in the last couple days. People, be nice. Part 14, How Light Really Moves on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. Well, the controllers almost got something right, spirals. Just not solid matter, planets, and a ginormous perpetual nuclear furnace that spirals. The light spirals. More specifically, the plasma light spirals. Yep, I've been trying to tell everyone about simplicity. The controllers, religious teachers, professors, mathematicians, engineers, theoretical scientists, etc., believe that complex means smart. Nope, sorry guys, the answers are always simple. Those letters behind someone's title and name that denote education level, status, and training mean nothing and won't get you the correct answer, except these 3 letters. BAL. Brian Austin Lambert. Suck it, controllers.
I don't want to talk to you no more, you empty-headed animal food trough whopper. I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries. No, now go away, or I shall taunt you a second time.
What is plasma? Official explanation. Plasma is the 4th state of matter. The 3 other states of matter are solids, liquids, and gases. Plasma is created by adding energy to a gas. The charged particles in plasma will react strongly to EM, electromagnetic fields. If plasma loses heat, it will reform into a gas. What plasma really is? The 1st state of matter. EM, electromagnetic energy, converts to plasma through a magnetic bowl structure. The energy is confined and condensed into matter by temperature, hot to cold. Hottest plasma, then cools to gases, then liquids, and the coldest solids. Remember from part 3, I talked about fluid dynamics, the flow of gases and liquids while in movement. One key part the controllers forgot to mention in their definition, plasma. Plasma is a fluid also. All fluids' base movement structure is a spiral flow. Water, plasma, gases, air, etc. Water being poured from a pitcher. Spiral. Watch next time you pour any drink. Water draining in a sink. Spiral. Water in a whirlpool. Spiral. Water draining viewed from underneath. Spiral. Water in the form of urine. Spiral. Watch the flow the next time you pee. Water flushing your urine down the toilet. Spiral. Who is this man in the picture? Viktor Schauberger, one of the greatest minds to ever walk the flat plane. Incredible inventor, just a glimpse of his work. You have to understand water to see the truth. Watch this video and any others about the amazing substance we call water. The Secrets of Water, the documentary of Viktor Schauberger. Link will be in description. Okay, now back to fluids movement. Also the same with air, like this tornado. spiral. Air in the form of cyclical storm systems, spiral. Remember part 6 on how the magnetohydrodynamics works? Spiral. Same as in plasma, like in this plasma ball. Each arm spirals to the ground point. Plasma as in this spiral galaxy, spiral. Yes, I am well aware that galaxies are not real, but this image is. I'll explain in later videos. Plasma as in this image of another structure above us, spiral. Plasma as in this image of an ejection jet above us, spiral. Remember the right-hand rule of electricity from part 6? Spirals are an electromagnetic phenomenon based off of this rule. Plasma light spirals because it is a fluid that is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity, simplicity at its finest. Next video, I will show how the plasma light spiral gets turned into visible light as our sun. Look at the yellowish circle part above Georgie Porgy's head. Now look at the yellow circle part in this 1606 Mercator Hondius map. Part 15, Plasma into Visible Light on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. How do you get light from plasma that travels in a spiral pattern to become regular, visible, white light? Plasma is matter. It has substance and properties of matter, so it cannot go through other matter. It is self-illuminating, it has light, but it does not have the same properties as visible light. The physical matter of plasma cannot go through a lens. Only the light can. So here is the process of how physical matter in the form of plasma, which is illuminated, at the center of the hollow electromagnetic sphere structure, becomes the focal point of visible white light we see as the sun in our sky. Remember your real source of light for the sun we see in our sky, the as above, so below pyramid. That is the source of plasma for the creation of light on your flat plane. The pyramid structure is an electromagnetic formation. It is powered by electricity. It causes plasma to be formed. The plasma revolves around the pyramid. Plasma is illuminated and condenses, then flows through the electromagnetic field structure. Plasma is a fluid and flows in the shape of a spiral from the right-hand rule of electricity. Spiral takes a vortex shape, wider at the top and narrower at the bottom. Plasma light spiral is drawn magnetically to our electromagnetic field/ice dome. Electromagnetic field and ice dome block the physical matter of the plasma. No physical matter of the plasma enters our dome. Light from plasma continues on and is not blocked by electromagnetic field or ice dome. Plasma light becomes visible white light. Visible white light is the only part of the plasma that can enter our dome through the transparent ice lens. Ice dome and waters above create the convex lens for the optics part of the process. Visible white light travels through converging convex lens. Visible white light converges to focal point, and that is what we see as the sun in our sky. Hey controllers, mind over matter. I don't mind, so you don't matter. Recap. The illuminated spiraling plasma matter is blocked by electromagnetic field and ice dome. The spiraling plasma light becomes visible light through the transparent ice and water lens. Convex lens converges visible light into focal point. Focal point of light is inside the sky / atmosphere / firmament / heaven. Focal point of visible light is the sun we see. No more, no less. Part 16, why the light does not melt the ice dome on the flat earth. My magnus opus. Okay, for all the real thinkers out there, so if the sun is super hot, how come it doesn't melt the ice dome? Because the sun is not this, like the controllers want you to believe. No, don't worry, this moron isn't mocking you. The sun we see in our sky is just this, the focal point of visible white light in the middle of our sky. The sun is not a perpetual nuclear furnace 93 million miles away with asinine temperatures and traveling at ludicrous speed.
For light speed.
No, light speed is too slow.
Light speed too slow?
Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed. Are we stopped?
We're stopped, sir.
Good. Well, why don't we take a 5-minute break?
Very good, sir.
Smoke if you got 'em.
All right, back to the question at hand. So if the sun is super hot, how come it doesn't melt the ice dome? 4 reasons. Number 1, the heat of the plasma spiral is repelled by the electromagnetic field. The electromagnetic field repulses / reflects the plasma when hit and deflects plasma heat away from ice dome. Number 2, the plasma light spiral travels in a tube-like structure and moves in a circular pattern as it hits the dome. So the heat from the plasma doesn't stay on one spot long enough on the ice dome. So in a 24-hour period, the plasma spiral travels in a circle and traverses the entire disk of the flat plane. So it would only be on one spot for a very short period of time. Number 3, the visible white light is diffuse and spread out while entering the convex lens, the ice dome and water above. The diffuse visible white light is akin to the light temperature with a magnifying glass. Before the light hits the lens, it is diffuse and normal temperature. Only gets hot after the light travels through the convex lens and converges at the focal point of light. Number 4, the focal point of light is what causes the heat of the sun, and the heat is generated through the crossing of light at the focal point. The heat is inside of the ice dome in the middle of our sky at the focal point. The convex lens is the mechanism which creates the heat through the converging or crossing of light into the focal point, exactly the same as how lasers work. Fire at will, Commander. The Emperor, Return the Jedi. The heat of the sun is in the middle of your sky with the converging of light into a focal point. People, that is why we have an atmosphere where it is, between the waters. The heat of the sun in the middle of the sky evaporates the waters and turns them into gases or the atmosphere. The waters above and below are in liquid form because they are heated by the hot focal point of light we call the sun. The liquid waters are just outside of the atmosphere because it is a little cooler. Not hot enough to turn to gas, but warm enough to keep liquid water between 0 to 100 degrees Celsius and 33 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So ice is easy to see now. It forms at the furthest distance away from the actual heat source, the sun, in the sky. The dome is the furthest away from the heat source and will form ice because the focal point of light is directly in the middle of our sky. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Recap. 1. Sun is not a nuclear furnace. 2. Sun is focal point of light in middle of sky. 3. Plasma heat is reflected by electromagnetic dome. 4. Plasma light is traveling around in circle, does not stay on one place long enough. 5. Light is diffuse, spread out going into lens. 6. Heat is generated at focal point of light, the sun we see in our sky. 7. Atmosphere and liquid waters heated by focal point of light in middle of sky, our sun. Part 17, Day and Night on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. How does the focal point of light, we call the sun, create the observed day and night here on the flat plane? The plasma light, a fluid, travels in a spiral before it hits our dome. The plasma travels in a tube-like structure within the spiral. The inner tube is denser and more illuminated than the surrounding plasma. The plasma tube of light travels from the as above, so below pyramids above our dome. The plasma is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity. The direction of flow of electrical current is coming down towards our dome and us, so the plasma is moving in an east to west direction over our flat plane. Plasma spiral gets tighter as it travels away from source, the pyramids. The tube of plasma light hits top of dome. Physical plasma is reflected and light continues on through lens, which is the ice dome and waters above. The plasma tube of light is spiraling from the right-hand rule of electricity, so it moves from east to west. It does not hit just one point of the dome. It traverses the entire circle in a solar day. So in a 24-hour period, the plasma circle would traverse the entire circle of the flat plane. One complete revolution of the spiral is 1 solar day. So if you were to view the spiral plasma tube from above or below, this is how it would look. Or like the very center circle in this image of the Vajra. No worries, I will explain. Patience. The white section of the yin-yang symbol is the plasma tube, the illuminated part or day. The black section is the part of the plasma spiral that emits no light, the darkened part or night. Homework. Since I have no ability to make any cool graphics, print out a flat earth map like this image. Then print out an image of the yin-yang, cut out one section, the white or the black, then place cut out section on the FE flat earth map. Make sure that flat earth map and the yin-yang images are the same size or circumference. The sunrise and sunset times will match up perfectly of all major cities around the world. The curve of the light when hitting the surface is responsible for where and when the light hits, not the curve of a spinning globe Earth. Oh, by the way, do you remember the comets and their tails from part 10? It just so happens that there is something else that travels above us that creates a tail. The plasma tube of light creates a tail from the spiraling action of flow. So the front end of the white part is the circular tube. You view the rest of the tube as it spirals off behind the front part of the tube, hence the tail created from the spiraling action of the plasma tube. Nighttime is just the absence of the focal point due to the spiraling of the plasma light tube on the other side of the dome. No light in section of plasma, so no focal point created through lens. So the focal point of light is moving from east to west in our daytime sky because the spiraling plasma tube of light that creates the focal point is moving in a circle as it hits the dome above our heads, and it takes 24 hours to complete one revolution. The white part of the yin-yang is the daylight and the black part is nighttime. Recap. Plasma spiral creates inner tube, more concentrated and illuminated. Opposite side of tube lacks light. Direction of flow is coming down towards us. Right hand rule, spins from east to west. Tube hits dome, plasma repelled while light goes through lens dome. Light side with focal point and dark side project in a yin-yang pattern on flat plane. Create day and night. Tube takes 24 hours to make a revolution. One revolution equals 1 day and night. If you need more understanding of the plasma, please watch these 3 videos. These are the greatest experiments ever done. He was so close, but he just couldn't see beyond the heliocentric model and just a little off on a couple other key points. The world owes this man a huge debt of gratitude for his work. David LaPoint. Primer fields 1, 2, and 3. Link will be in the description. Part 18, the solar year and seasons on the flat earth, my magnus opus. This video is from the perspective of the observer being in the northern hemisphere. If you live in the southern hemisphere, just reverse the information when applicable. How does the focal point of light, we call the sun, create the seasons and its annual movement from south to north and back to the south for the solar year? The answer is simple. the light expands and contracts, or in another word, it pulses. But even more specifically, the plasma tube of light expands and contracts or pulses. So what do I mean that the plasma tube of light expands and contracts or pulses? The plasma behaves similarly to how blood is pumped through our arteries. The blood will surge through with increased pressure during expansion and decreased pressure and flow during contraction. Plasma created above us has the same properties. It pulses, and each pulse is an expansion and then a contraction of the plasma. By the way, it is no accident that there is plasma above, and we all have plasma in our blood. So a solar year is the expansion to contraction back to expansion. It takes 365 days for this process or pulse to happen. An expansion to the contraction is 182.5 days. Then conversely, the contraction to expansion takes another 182.5 days. The expansion causes the focal point of light, our sun, to move south in the sky. The contraction causes the focal point of light, our sun, to move north in the sky. Focal point of light, the sun, direction of travel is east to west. Flow of electricity is coming down towards us, so it is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity. Remember what a day actually is. One solar day, one complete circle around the flat Earth, takes 24 hours. So the little yellow circle on the blue circle is representation of the sun, and it travels east to west on its daily path. The furthest the focal point travels south is the Tropic of Capricorn, the blue line, expansion of plasma. The furthest the focal point travels north is the Tropic of Cancer, the green line, contraction of plasma. A solar year is a complete pulse, 365 days, expansion to contraction back to expansion. Blue circle Capricorn to green circle Cancer and back to the blue circle Capricorn is 1 year. Now time to explain the seasons: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. The winter solstice from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Winter solstice, blue line, Tropic of Capricorn, furthest south daily revolution of focal point of light. Plasma tube greatest limit of expansion, furthest away from north, coldest winter temps. The spring equinox from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Spring equinox, red line / equator. Midpoint of contraction inwards toward northern limit of focal point, Tropic of Cancer. Plasma tube is contracting toward the northern contraction limit, so warmer spring temps. The summer solstice from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Summer solstice, green line, Tropic of Cancer. Furthest north daily revolution of the focal point of light. Plasma tube greatest limit of contraction, closest to the north, hottest summer temps. The autumn equinox from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Autumn equinox, red line / equator, midpoint of expansion outwards towards southern limit of focal point, Tropic of Capricorn. Plasma tube is expanding away from the northern contraction, so cooler autumn temps. Recap. Plasma tube of light pulses. a pulse of expanding and contracting plasma. Expands and contracts like arteries. Solar year is one full pulse. Expands, contracts, and expands. Focal point of light will travel south to north, back south. Tropics of Capricorn and Cancer are outer and inner limits of traveling focal point of light, our sun. Seasons determined by where sun is in relation to expansion and contraction cycle. Part 19, the shortening of days on the flat earth. Jesus's magnus opus. What is the shortening of days? Well, let's see what Jesus said about it. Then I will show you what he was talking about. Matthew 24:22, King James Version. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Jesus is talking about how the days will be shorter or less than the normal 24-hour day. How can that happen? Well, thanks for asking, because I'm about ready to show you. Our sun is not this. It is this, visible white light created at the focal point from a lens, optics. People, go and watch primer fields 1 through 3 if you haven't already. The pyramids or Z-pinch in plasma physics lingo is what produces the spiraling plasma. Example of another Z-pinch above us. The Z-pinch, also known as the zeta pinch, is a type of plasma confinement system that uses an electrical current in the plasma to generate a magnetic field that compresses the plasma. Another example of Z-pinch above us. Remember, the plasma tube of light that creates the focal point of light, our sun in the sky, spirals and pulses. Here is a spiral caught red-handed in the primer fields 2 at 842. The more illuminated plasma spiral tube I've been talking about can clearly be seen in this experiment. Real science. The pulse of plasma light can clearly be seen at 2142. Plasma pulses fast because it is on a very small scale. Our plasma above us takes 365 days for a full pulse because of its vast size. And the same thing with one revolution of the spiral. If diameter of flat plane is 24,000 miles and it takes 24 hours for one revolution, then the speed of the spiral would be 1,000 miles per hour. Remember that everything is electromagnetic in nature. Not some things, everything. Homework, learn about Birkeland currents. That is why fluids need to travel in a spiral action. Birkeland currents equals spiral movement. An example of Birkeland current above us. Remember the center circle of the Vajra? And the yin-yang, or the way the light hits our flat plane? Looks just like the bottom view of a spiraling Birkeland current, because it is. Back to the question at hand, how can the shortening of days happen? The exact same way a figure skater gets faster as they bring their arms in. Angular momentum. Arms out, slower. Arms in, faster. Angular momentum. The plasma spiral is getting tighter and faster from the final surge of electricity before the change of direction of current. The change of direction of current is what causes the catastrophe and ushers in the red sky. So as the spiral gets tighter and faster, the plasma tube of light increases in speed. It will then traverse the entire flat plane in less time, or less than 24 hours. The days will be less than a normal 24-hour period, or the shortening of the days. Recap. Plan, prepare, and survive. Get an analog clock. Battery powered is preferred. Do not have your computer or devices get automatic time updates. Monitor real time versus the controller's time. Compare the real time to sunset and sunrise times where you live. You will know when the shortening of days that Jesus warned you about is happening if you keep track of time. Shout out and a big thank you to Marie W., one of my subs who completed her homework from part 18. Next video, part 20. The BS called gravity on the flat earth. Please share, like, and subscribe. All videos are broken down by topics so you can reference back to them when needed. So many topics to cover, so we only have time to give you the answers and some examples. Homework will be required of you if you want to verify or dig deeper on an individual topic. Thank you.